Hey everybody, how we doing? This is part 10 of the Rise of Bellator series, and it looks like we are all good on the stream, and we're live, so I guess we can go ahead and get into it. We signed a bunch of people. I didn't go out and negotiate with any new people, but pretty much everybody that we offered last. I forgot what I was saying. Pretty much everybody that we offered last stream signed with us. And yeah, so right now we're really just waiting to get into Bellator 209, Cheick Kongo versus Wren. Not a very big show, it's one of our smallest, but that's because right after that 210 and 211, we have what'll probably be our two biggest shows for a long time. Although we have added a lot of stars to the roster, so I can't be too sure about that. But obviously, Douglas Lima versus GSP is going to be one of the biggest matches we've ever had. Same with Brock Lesnar versus Mark Hunt. And I feel like maybe at like Bellator 220, when they're both back, we can put them all together on some big super show. But until then, we just have to go with what we've got currently. And yeah, I kind of want to get some more people in here. It looks like we only have one watching right now. Before I actually go ahead and sim the show. But then again, the prelims, four fight prelims, I guess I could just go slow on those to make sure I'm not just doing nothing for a while. I guess we could probably look at finance. That wouldn't hurt too bad. July of 2018 definitely wasn't a great month for us, losing $6 million, but that was based pretty much completely on the fact that we created our own broadcaster. One thing I do not like about WMMA, and I feel like really needs to be fixed, is that as far as I know, as far as I know, you really cannot upgrade your broadcaster after you've fixed it. So what I have to do is go in and edit my broadcaster. Unless it's under Create Broadcaster. No, it is not. I have to go in and edit my broadcaster, see how much money it would cost to make a broadcaster that big, and then subtract, the amount that I had before from the amount that I have after, and then that from my finances. So it gets pretty complicated, and it takes way longer than I would have liked. So I'm probably not going to be doing that on stream when we do get around to that point. But rising in size to the status of mid-level national. Also, corporate. I feel like we looked at this a while back, but we never really got around to it. 2% boost to your credibility. We don't really need that right now. We got a 95%. Stability, we could use that, but $1 million right now is not really a great investment. And in terms of this, would increase to a boost. 1% boost to our credibility at the start of each month. Seems like we're already doing that a little bit, but we'll go ahead and increase our PR firm to a medium-sized firm, because $15,000 a month is not going to make a dent in our bottom line pretty much at all. So it's probably a good idea to go ahead and put that in just in case someone screws up and we have to cover for them. We don't want that hurting our credibility or stability right now, because it is pretty dang high at the current moment. But I think I'm just going to go ahead and jump into the fights. The prelims at least, and we can go ahead and look at the overview. Everybody thinks Wren is going to win this. I honestly think Cheick Kongo might. I think he is, the favorite to me. Sakara is the favorite in versus the Irish bad boy Brennan Ward, and Manoff looks like he's not going to win against Mclellan, which is probably pretty accurate. Gallagher looks to win over whatever that name is, and seeing as Gallagher is, I think he's like 8-0, maybe more, he is one of the best prospects on a roster, especially in the featherweight division, and his opponent hasn't won since 2016, so I really don't see this going badly for Gallagher. Anglo looks to beat Garcia. I really put this as a test for Garcia. He is obviously the underdog here, but he is supposed to be one of our better prospects, and he should be able to beat Anglo if he is really as good as he hopes to be or is looking to be at this point. And then we have Tisha Tocar versus Tyrell Fortune. I definitely think Tisha Tocar is going to win this one, primarily because, well, he's a large Russian, and just because Tyrell Fortune has never really done too well in any of my sims. I don't think he is, a hugely talented fighter. He's good for like a middle of the card fight and getting people over, but I don't think he is going to be able to beat Tisha Tocar. And then we have Ashtekar versus Viana, and this was really just to get Artur Ashtekar a win. And because Viana hasn't won since 2015, hasn't had many fights since then, I don't see him winning this one at all. And then we have Jacob Schroeder versus Kevin Casey. Kevin Casey hasn't won since 2016. A lot of people have him winning this fight, though, but I think that might just be because of Jacob Schroeder's lack of experience and they don't have a tape library to scour over like they do with Kevin Casey. So we really don't know what Jacob Schroeder is going to be able to do. He is one of the created fighters. Hopefully he'll be able to pull out the win. He is making his pro debut. He did fight in the Fight Master tournament, of course. I think he lost in his first fight, though. So we'll see how he does against Kevin Casey and if he can stick around on this roster. And then we also have Vettori versus Schroeder, and this is pretty much a shoe-in for Vettori. He is coming right off from the UFC, and it looks like he is going to be able to take out Ben Schroeder pretty easily. But we'll see how that is. We're going to jump right into it, and we'll go ahead and start the fight. We got a new referee, I think. Maybe not, but not Herb Dean, so that is interesting. Normally it is just Herb Dean. One thing that I really do like about WMMA, that I don't have to hire referees, because I would not be able to keep up with that. I never do in my TEW saves. I always forget, and then I always have guest referees for like my first 2 shows. But in terms of this fight, let's see how it's going. Vettori looks to be striking very well against Schroeder, who they both have the same style, which is mixed martial arts. Schroeder has a 3-inch reach advantage and the experience advantage, but he is still not considered the favorite because Vettori is one of the bigger prospects on our roster. I feel like I say that a lot. We do have a lot of good young guys on this roster, but in this division especially, I feel like there's a lot of room for him to grow and become one of its top stars. And it looks like Vettori just slammed Schroeder onto the ground. Or maybe it was the other way around, but knowing Vettori, I think it was probably him who got the better of that exchange. And Vettori smothers Schroeder with his body. No, not a lot of progress being made, but as long as Schroeder doesn't do anything crazy, it looks like Vettori is going to win this round, pushing him up to 2-0 on the scorecard. So Schroeder needs to finish, and honestly, with the way this fight's been going, all Vettori needs to do is get him on the ground, and he'll be able to win this. And it looks like he does get a takedown there. It wasn't pretty, but it was effective. Vettori gets him on the ground, and he is keeping them there. He's unloading with quite a few right hands, but Schroeder is able to get up to his feet and out-wrestles Vettori when he tries to push him up against the cage. No takedown for Schroeder, and there actually is a takedown on his second attempt, but it doesn't look like that's going to be enough. He might have won that round, not even, but he definitely did not win that fight. 30-27, the Italian Dream, Marvin Vettori, is victorious a unanimous decision in 5 minutes of round 3. A decent fight. This is definitely a good look for Marvin Vettori. He didn't tire out at any point in the fight. He looked strong throughout, and he was able to keep the game, or keep the fight on the ground rather, and play to his strengths. And he apparently has a lot of natural charisma, so that is very good for us. Next up, the Iron Man Jacob Schroeder versus the King Kevin Casey. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like we have Jacob Schroeder in the chat right now. We don't actually have anybody in the chat right now. But hopefully we can... oh, there we... Okay. 15-second knockout. That might be the fastest we've ever had. Jacob Schroeder defeats the King Kevin Casey by knockout punch in round 1. Fight being rated as good. It took 1 punch, and Jacob Schroeder knocked out Kevin Casey. This is definitely a big win for Jacob Schroeder. He beats the odds, and he beats them into the ground, really. You know, it was 6-1 in favor of Kevin Casey, and Jacob Schroeder just threw that out the window, really. 15-second knockout. That is insane. We're going to have to get Jacob Schroeder up against probably another boxer, because I want to see, you know, a longer fight from this guy. Because Kevin Casey, obviously, is 40 years old. He has never really been an elite talent, but he's definitely better than a 15-second knockout against most opponents. So we might have something special with Jacob Schroeder. We'll see how this goes, but he starts his career off undefeated at 1-0. And actually, a knockout so good, Kevin Casey decided to retire. And Jacob Schroeder is obviously very happy to cap his Bellator MMA debut and his professional MMA debut with a win. And next up is Artur Ashtekar versus Gamay. Viana. Probably said both of their names wrong. But in terms of this fight, Ashtekar is probably going to win pretty easily. If I had to guess, I would say it was going to be a decision, just because Viana is, you know, he has some good defense. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu should make sure that he's not going to get submitted anytime soon, and he has good stand-up game. I just think that Ashtekar is a little bit better in everything, and I think that's going to win out in these 3 rounds. And hopefully build Ashtekar so we can get him on the main card. Oh my God, Viana starts pounding away big strike after big strike. I think that's going to be a TKO for Guillermo Viana. And it is. 3:08 of round 1. Artur Ashtekar gets knocked out. Or technically knocked out, I guess. But yeah, 2 power punches and a hell of a lot of ground strikes. That was all it took. And Guillermo Viana pulls out the upset. You know, I was really looking forward to an Artur Ashtekar victory here. But seeing how decisively Guillermo Viana won, I think he might have a bit brighter of a future in Bellator than I might have initially thought. So that is certainly good. And next up, Tisha Tocar versus Tyrell Fortune. This is the main event of the preliminary card, I do believe. Tisha Tocar is 1-0. Tyrell Fortune is 4-1. And I think his last match was a loss. So right now, it's looking pretty good for Tisha Tocar. Unfortunately, he did get taken down, it looks. But, yeah, because Fortune has side control. So if they stay on the ground, it looks like Fortune's going to win this first round. And this doesn't look too good for Tocar. No progress made, so the referee has to stand him up. And it looks like Tocar is going to lose this first round pretty decisively. He needs to work on his ground game if that's going to keep happening against people even, you know, more talented than Tyrell Fortune, because while he is a good wrestler, he is obviously not the best in that division. Tocar has a solid takedown attempt, and he gets it. Submission attempt by Tocar, but he isn't able to secure it. Fortune tries to move guard. There's another submission attempt by Tocar. He really likes that Kimura lock. If he can go for it again, he might be able to get it, and he does. Fortune taps out to the Kimura. I think that's the second fight in a row that Tocar has won by submission, if I'm not wrong. And Tisha Tocar, a little bit different than most of the Russians that we've seen so far, in this save at least. He seems to like using Sambo, to really pressure his opponents more so than other people on our roster. But some Kimura submission in 309 of round 2, fight being rated as good. And Tisha Tocar says he wants to challenge Javier Alea, saying that he'll destroy him. So he definitely has some Russian confidence there. But I do think he will be able to beat Javier Alea, even though he is one of the top 10 heavyweights in that division. I think that's just the next step for Tisha Tocar. He wants to fight. We're going to give it to him. Next up is Joe Anglo versus Steve Garcia, the first fight on the main show. Obviously, Anglo is the favorite here with 25 wins. That's more fights than Steve Garcia has even had, actually double the fights. Anglo has a 6-inch height disadvantage, but that hasn't seemed to impair him too much in the past. But hopefully Steve Garcia can take advantage of that and keep his string of victories going. I think he's on a win streak. He might not be, but he definitely has a pretty good record. So hopefully he can keep that going. I do really want him to develop into at least a contender. I don't know if he has the talent to be a champion anytime soon, but at least a contender in this division should be pretty easy. We don't have the strongest, I think they're bantamweights. We don't have the strongest bantamweight division. But with guys like Steve Garcia showing up, it looks like we might be growing that division pretty soon. We also made some pretty important signings recently. So hopefully we can just build our roster up as a whole. And Anglo looks like he is not doing too great on his feet. He might want to try to go to the ground. But Steve Garcia is taking advantage of that. He lands 2 to Anglo's 1 in terms of punches. Garcia is trading well. And with 32 seconds left, it looks like Garcia did win this round. Looks like the announcers are very into this fight, which probably means the fans are liking it very much as well. And hopefully Garcia can pull this out. He gets a right cross blocked, and he gets a left jab but misses with the right hook. Anglo takes down, or tries to take down Garcia, but Garcia gets it, or is able, I can't speak. Ooh, Anglo gets a takedown. That might be it for Garcia. Garcia needs to get to his feet or get positioning to take control from Anglo, or else this fight might be over by decision. And Garcia tries to move guard, but he doesn't allow it. Anglo took that round, and I think that means that oh, there we go, Steve Garcia. It looked like Anglo won the first round, but looks like Steve Garcia did just enough to convince the judges that he was the better fighter out of the two. And unanimous decision, 5 minutes of round 3. Fight being rated as great. This is a very good fight to add to Steve Garcia's resume. And hopefully he can keep this train rolling as he moves up the ranks in the division. And he's also very charismatic, and he wants to fight Ian Loveland. So we'll definitely get that one on the cards. I feel like Ian Loveland might be a downgrade in terms of competition from Joe Anglo, but we'll adhere to Steve Garcia's wishes as long as we don't see anything too spectacular coming out of that roster in terms of matchups. And James Gallagher looks like he is going to continue his win streak, or undefeated streak, I should say, 2-9-0 against the 33-year-old Georgie. I'm not even going to attempt. There we go. Oh my god, a TKO in just 31 seconds. The Strabanimal, living up to his nickname, he was really an animal here. Let's look at the fight metrics. 1 power punch and 8 ground strikes. That was all it took. Well, it might not have been the quickest knockout we've had of the night, surprisingly. It was certainly one of the most effective, combinations, I would say. So, James Gallagher was able to take advantage of Why I don't understand why he has such a complicated last name. He's from Riverside, California. Come on. I feel bad for any substitute teacher he ever had. But, you know, he was able to take advantage of his opponent's weak stand-up, and he was able to get the TKO. Very good by Gallagher. I think he needs to move up to a bigger, not a bigger weight class, but more competition in this division. Because, honestly, I've been feeding him a couple chumps, and I think he's ready to move up to the next stage. Next up, we have Manoff versus Mclellan, and this one looks like it's going to be pretty short or one-sided story, and pretty short story at that. But we'll see if Manoff can fight off the... Oh my, what is that? What is this country? Gaunting? I don't know what that is. Alright, well, Manoff is dropped by a big right hook, and Mclellan is pounding big strike after big strike. I think that is a TKO, and it is. 246 around one, the fight being rated as great. Soldier Boy from whatever this country is. Honestly, never heard of that. I need to look into that because I'm very interested. He has an American name, or an Irish name even. And then whatever that is. I think that might be an issue with the mod, honestly. Because it doesn't look like a real place. But we're going to go ahead and move on from this fight. And Manoff actually decides to retire. The 42-year-old has had enough. He is tapped out from his career in MMA. He had a good one, 30 wins, 16 losses, 1 draw, and 2 no contests. But this marks the end for him. Mclellan, however, is just about getting his Bellator MMA career started, moves up to 15-6, and he is doing very well. Next up, we have Legionarius versus the Irish Bad Boy. And I think this one is going to go just about the same as the last fight we had, because Sakura is undoubtedly one of the best strikers we have in the heavyweight division. So to think that Brennan Ward, who got knocked out in either the first or second round of our Fight Master tournament, is going to be much of a problem for Sakura is certainly a stretch, I would say. This is kind of a weak co-main event, honestly, but this show was really built completely on the fact that we knew we had GSP versus Lima in the next month. So we just wanted a small show. We're not going to make very much money off of it, but Sakura lands a left hook to the jaw, Ward falls, and it looks like that's going to be another TKO. We've had a lot of those tonight. It's been a very exciting night of fighting. 4:15 around 1, fight being rated as great. Legionnaire Sakura defeats Brennan, the Irish Bad Boy Ward. And yeah, moving on to the main event of the evening. Actually, Alicio Sakura wants to fight John Salter, so that is very interesting. I guess that means that he's not a heavyweight. I must be wrong about that. Maybe a middleweight or a light heavyweight. I think he must be middleweight if he's trying to fight John Salter. Yeah, I don't know why I thought Sakura was a heavyweight. Sorry about that. Must be thinking of someone else. But our main event, Cheick Kongo versus Justin Ward. And it looks like... Justin Wren, sorry. It looks like Wren has a 40-pound weight advantage over Kongo. Actually, it's 33. But the announcers, at least, said that it looked about 40 pounds. He has a 1-inch height disadvantage, but I don't think that should matter too much. Justin Ward Justin Wren, I keep saying Ward, looking really good. He gets the takedown and attempts the guillotine. This might be it, but it is not. Kongo stops him. Kongo is pretty notorious for not being able to finish fights, at least this late in his career. He did knock out Javi Alea with pretty much just one punch in his later, I think it was his last fight, actually. But before that, he went on a string of about 5 fights that were decision. So hopefully Justin Wren, or hopefully Kongo, if he is going to be Justin Wren, can make it pretty entertaining for us, because as he does wind down his career, it is undoubtable that he is going to retire relatively soon. 43 years old is certainly not young in the world of MMA. I mean, he looks great for 43, but I think Justin Wren might be able to pull out the win here. against the aging Kongo. Moving to the final seconds of the second round, and Kongo is definitely slowing, more so than Wren. The one thing about Wren is that even though he is obviously a bigger guy, much like Big Country Roy Nelson, he really doesn't tire out as quickly as you would think. He's very much like a Kevin Owens. He has a lot of stamina. I guess that's what he stores in his gut. That was kind of mean, sorry about that. But Wren tries to lock in Kongo, but he is not able to get the submission. Kongo is doing a decent job at keeping Wren subdued, at least in terms of his submission attempts, but he needs to take control of this. There we go, with another submission attempt. That's like 6 on the day for Wren. It looks like with 7 seconds left, I think Wren might have won that round, and it looks like he did. 29-28. Oh, wait. This is the main event. We have 5 rounds. So Kongo doesn't have much energy left. We might see a submission in this round. If it doesn't happen in this round, I think Justin Wren might be a little bit too tired to take him out in the 5th round. So if we don't get a finish here, I think we're going to decision. And Wren managed to catch the last kick, gets a takedown, and I think this is submission territory right here. Justin Wren has not been able to get it all fight, but a full mount on Kongo, and I think this is definitely going to be a submission. Big strike, there we go. Justin Pygmy Wren, Big Pygmy, actually, defeats Cheick Kongo TKO in 3:33 of round 4. It looks like he was just getting in the full mount and slamming him for the most part. He had 16 power ground strikes, which is pretty unheard of. That's actually insane. Good job by Justin Wren to get that full mount. That really won him the fight. And Kongo, there we go. Kongo decided to retire from MMA. Obviously, it's not great for us. He is one of our top heavyweights, but I am not too mad at it, as I feel like it's time for us to go younger with our roster, which is what I've been trying to do with guys like Tisha Tocar, Jacob Schroeder, Steve Garcia, James Gallagher, guys like that, because right now we've kind of been, sticking to the aging guys, namely, I guess we did just sign GSP, so I'm kind of being hypocritical here, but namely Mr. George St. Pierre. No, what was I saying? I completely forgot what I was saying. But of course we're going to give Jacob Schroeder knockout of the night. Tisha Tocar gets sub. And Justin Wren versus Cheick Kongo gets fight. And we'll go ahead and move on. We made $1.15 million on this fight. That is pretty dang good. I don't know how that happened. Apparently we sold a heck of a lot of tickets. And this wasn't a very big wasn't a very big event, really. We only had a commercial rating of 79. We made a good amount of money. So hopefully that's going to give me hope for the next 2 events, where we actually have some of the biggest events we've had ever, or at least that we've booked. And, I'm very excited about this. We'll see how we do. But GSP and David Lima? No, something Lima. What is his name? It's not David. It's Douglas Lima. They're going to have to put on quite a show to live up to the hype, because Douglas Lima has been wrecking that division. But of course, George St. Pierre is one of the best fighters of all time. So, it's going to be a tough fight, but I do see GSP winning. And having GSP hold any of our titles is quite obviously a very big deal for us. We had 3 people retire, so that is not great. Kate Jackson wants to move up in weight class, so we'll look at that in a second. I guess we can move her to featherweight. Gamay Viana definitely needs a new contract after his upset victory. He is going to get one. Ben Ryder, I do want to keep him around. We need some faces in that division, so might as well keep Ryder. I do want to keep our roster pretty intact. Georgie, I don't know how to say his name, first or last, but we are going to re-sign him. He is a decent fighter. He just went up against, one of the best fighters in that division in James Gallagher. Steve Garcia, of course, we're going to sign him. I'm actually going to sign him to about 4 years, 6 fights, 4 fights guaranteed, $2,500 per fight. That's definitely going to be a good deal for us in the later years of that contract. And Artur Ashtekar, he is 0-2 in Bellator, but 30 years old. I guess we can bring him in. He's not a bad fighter, but he definitely hasn't been impressing me in any way so far. Let's go ahead and book Bellator 212. We're going to autofill on the broadcasters, and we don't want it to be on Spike because we need that for Fight Master. For right now, tentatively, I'll make it a main event fight, or a major show rather, but we might have to go back and change that. And Bobby Lashley can fight. We just had him fight Heath Herring rather. So I think we might want to save him. Travis Hibert versus Nikolas Laforce. They're 2 of the guys that we recently signed. I think we'll go ahead and put them on the prelims just to see what they're all about. Heath Herring, I really want to save him. I feel like he can, Bobby Lashley and Heath Herring are definitely, I think they're within 3 fights at the very most of retiring both of them. So we definitely need to keep them limited in their appearances. So I think we should save them because we can't have them fight each other again this recently after they won. Ryan Bader, I forgot that he lost the championship. I actually did not remember him losing to Phil Bader, but there we go. Looks like the main fight that we have to go with here is definitely Ryan Bader versus Marcio Rusia. And I need to build some momentum first. Alright, fair enough. Victor Nemkov, he's one of the new people we signed. I think I'm going to have him go up against... No, never mind. Alright, so we'll wait a little bit on that fight then. Arman Singh can fight... Ooh, Luigi Golden versus Arman Singh. Do we want to do that? They are 2 of the created fighters, of course. I don't really want either of them to lose, so I think I'll just put Luigi Golden versus Chris Dempsey for right now. I think he has a good chance at winning that fight. Actually, we should definitely put this on the prelims. And that's definitely what we want to do. We want to see what these guys got, but we also want to build them up a little bit. Lorenz Larkin, rather. There's really no one for him to face, so we'll keep him off the card for right now. Ben Henderson just lost to Michael Chandler, so we're going to go ahead and put him against Patiki Frieri to doesn't have enough time to run a full training camp, and I do not want to spend $20,000 to get him to fight. But we could do Ben Henderson versus Gabriel Green. Now this would be, it wouldn't really give Ben Henderson anything to gain here, but Gabriel Green really needs to, move up the card a little bit. He has been off a pretty good win streak, I think. Let's look at his fight history. He did lose against Derek Anderson. And if he's losing against Derek Anderson, then I don't think he's ready to face Ben Henderson. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and put it. Never mind. $29,000. Yeah, no. Alright. So they fought at 201. I think we go ahead and give Gabriel Green his rematch then. Because I feel like he's a more developed fighter than he was at 201. It wasn't that long ago, but he got a win in his last fight. I think he can definitely win this one, and we definitely want him to, because I don't want his record to have too many taints on it. Tainted, I don't know. Tainted matches? I don't really know. Because, ooh, Charles Oliveira and Patricio Freire. Of course, we recently signed him from UFC. He's a number 17 featherweight in the world. It's only right for us to give him a championship opportunity here. And I think we'll go ahead and do that. That'll be our main event for this show right now. And Cody Bollinger versus Aj Miki. Miki is a lot better than Cody Bollinger. That's the only problem here. Alright. I definitely want to give Mohamed Silu. No, we're going to put him up against Cody Bollinger. Because he's undefeated. Cody Bollinger is, yet to win in Bellator. So I think that's going to be a good fight for us. Nathaniel Wood, we could put him against Peter. Nah, we'll be fine. We'll do Delano Lopez versus Peter. I'm going to go ahead and make this a minor show. Or a lesser show, rather. That makes this a great main event. This still shouldn't be on the main card, but it's fine. And in terms of the bantamweight, still shouldn't be on the main card. It's fine. We'll be okay. Women's featherweight. Ooh, she's not gonna take that fight, will she? Yeah, she's not well known enough. All right. Well, Cyborg still doesn't want to fight for us just yet. But Lena versus Colleen. Let's go ahead and put that. It's number 7 versus number 8. And that fills out our prelim card. I think I might have to do a throwaway show, but I really don't want to do that. I guess we can wait till next week, or the end of next week, the 4th week of October, to book the rest of this show. Hopefully more people will be available to us, because right now this doesn't look too good outside of the main event. And actually, considering that I've streamed for about 40 minutes and still haven't gotten a single comment, nobody's really been watching. I really didn't want to screw over the VOD viewers, and I forgot what I was saying already. See, this is when I need to end the stream, when you lose my train of thought constantly, which normally happens, but more so than usual right about now. But really didn't want to screw over the VOD viewers, so I did push through for about 40 minutes. But I think we're gonna go ahead and end the stream. I'm definitely gonna be streaming my Patreon TEW stream tomorrow. And probably going to be streaming, oh god, I think I kept this on unlisted the whole time. That makes a lot of sense. Alright, so me realizing that I kept this on unlisted the whole time, definitely feeling really stupid. Sorry everybody who would have wanted to watch this. I'll stream tomorrow then to make it up to you. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully I'll remember to keep it off unlisted then.